Welcome back to Papa Joe's Trains and Toys. This week is going to, this video is going to be the train room build part one. Each week or each video, I'll be doing some trivia. You'll have to watch the next video to get the answer. Next couple of slides is just the transition of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do in this room, where I'm putting supplies, marking out my aisles and train tables to make sure I had enough space for what I was thinking of doing with the room. In hindsight, I probably should have left myself some more room in certain corners so that I didn't have to climb up on top of the finished tables with the foam on top. That's actually been a slight issue. Even with the step stool, I can't quite reach all the way into the corners, so I am having to climb on top of my table, which from now on I'll be using a extra piece of foam on top of everything so that I don't make any more dents or impressions in the foam top of the tables. So this room basically became a staging area for supplies as I was accumulating everything until I was able to go ahead and get the tables built. There's the OSB that finally came in. I'm using it. I am in a climate controlled room. Most people recommend that you use actual plywood, not OSB, because it is prone to swelling with moisture. There's the foam as well. Wife was not pleased that I had those two stacks of things in the room for that long, but they are finally out of the living room. Here we have the garage slash work area. Made a couple of workbenches to get everything done. Did put together a jig so all of the frames for the train tables were almost identical. Of course, have to have the canopy up. Florida sun. It was pretty hot when I was working outside and doing this. Now I did have to, or didn't really have to. Initially, I was going to pre-drill all of the bolt holes and cabling holes for the tables, but I realized that with the leveling feet that probably wasn't going to be a great idea because each table is going to be at a slightly different height from each other. Um, So I went ahead and got the tables in the room and then went ahead and drilled the holes and bolted everything together. Uh, yeah, it was not exactly my best day. I was very tired afterwards, climbing, crawling, flipped over on my back, drilling holes. You'll see my feet underneath the table here in a little bit once I get everything situated in the room. I did run into a small snag as I was putting together the tables and realized that I only ordered half as many feet as I needed and had to wait for the rest to come in before I could move forward. So make sure you double check your math before you order things online. Here I am getting ready to drill the holes. You can see my little toes there in my socks. And be careful when you're climbing around underneath. I got plenty of bumps and knots on the top of my head from taking care of all of that. Well, today I'm going to be attempting to cut foam. I've never done this before. I did buy some foam cutting tools from a company out in California. Um, it is called Hotwire Foam Factory. I heard from them from several other modelers that I watch. And from what I understand, they're pretty much the best out there. So I've never done this, brand new tool. I don't know how long to wait for it to warm up, but I'm going to give it a few moments here. It's just a wire coming out of this handle. It's plugged into the wall. It's got a little, see if I can get this over here into the camera, a little power box with a knob. I can smell it getting warm already. And I'm going to use my straight edge here. to try and keep it as neat as I can. It won't be perfect. A little disclaimer for everybody. I use glues, I use adhesives. I'm about to melt some foam. There's a fan in the window is open. I tend to work in rooms that are very ventilated. When I do my airbrushing, I use the airbrush booth. If you're in a closed environment, please wear some sort of respirator, mask, get some air circulation, something going so that you don't hurt yourself. So I obviously can't reach all the way across the table. So I'm going to start somewhere here in the middle and then go straight down and come towards myself. It's pretty smooth. Feels like it takes a little bit of pressure, but not enough to bend the metal wire that's coming out of the tool. So that's a good thing. I'm only going to show this one piece, and I'm going to go ahead and get all the foam cut, and then I'm going to do a dry fit, and then I'll come back later on and show you how I'm going to get it glued down to the wood. I've already bought my adhesive. Comes in a long caulking gun. I'll show that on camera here in a little bit so that you can see what I'm using. Alright, got that one cut. And here you can see that I've gotten all the foam finished. It's in place. I have numbered everything and marked lines to keep it straight for when I have to pull it up and glue it, move it around, do things before I get it all glued down into place where I want it. There we have the doorway. I did have one angled piece for the door. Got that taken care of pretty easily. So I've gotten all my foam pieces cut, and now comes the true moment, gluing them down. So I have taken some still pictures. I've marked each of my pieces so that as I take them up to glue them, I know where they go to line them up, to put them back down on the other side. So, pair of snips. We're just going to cut the tip off. Well, that one flying away down the road. It's okay though. Don't think I should have to use too much of this, but we're going to see how this goes. I do have some weights. To weigh this down. Hopefully it all goes well. Like I said, beginner for beginners, right? Not so worried about the edges coming up because things are going to get built on top of this. We're going to firmly push that in place. Make sure it's right where it belongs. And then I'm going to throw a weight or two on it. see how that goes. I won't be gluing the joints together because these tables are meant to split apart for when we move. So I'm just going to do these first two real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and get the rest of it done. No reason to bore you. With doing all this. After this comes painting and printing out the track plan, getting it put down in the right place before we start to lay any track. There's number 2. And yeah, I do know there's a little bit of a gap between each one of these, which is okay, because I plan on putting some paper down before I paint, so if the gaps aren't visible, but when I go to move, they'll be easy to get out of the way. Alright, so I'm going to take care of the rest of this. And the next step you'll see is probably me putting the paper down and getting ready to do some paint. Okay, so yesterday I finished getting the foam cut, glued all my pieces down, weighted them, let them set overnight. Go ahead and move a couple of these out of the way real quick. We'll probably need those again later on building. Doing things. But now, as you can tell, there's gaps, which I already knew there was going to be gaps because of how I'm building this. But yeah, that foam's not going anywhere. So what I intend to do today is I'm going to take some paper and some 50/50 diluted Elmer's white glue, just plain glue, and water. And I am going to kind of try and blend those cracks in a little bit. And then we're going to let that dry. And then I'm going to paint over the top of it. So I'm just going to do this piece right here real quick to see how things work. I'm using a foam brush. See how well you can see that foam brush, paper. Okay. White glue in a paint tray. Not too bad. So I'm gonna soak it pretty well, or at least I'm gonna try to make sure not only does it adhere, but it kind of settles down a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of go right over the top of that pretty liberally, and then I'm gonna flip it over. Do the other side. And yeah, I know it's got color on it, but like I said, we're going to paint, so not too concerned about it. Yeah, that's already working pretty well. That's kind of exactly what I wanted to happen. Being white glue and paper, when I go to move, it should be easy to cut right down the side and not worry about it. I'm wondering if I just put it right on here. See how that works. I don't think it's going to matter too much. Top again. Yeah, I think that's going to work exactly the way I want it to. Just kind of covering up that seam a little bit. Alright, well, I'm going to get to work with this, and I'm going to let it dry. Hopefully it won't take too long, being that it's just a little diluted Elmer's. Got 2 fans on in here, so got a lot of air movement. And when that's all set up, I'm going to go ahead and get it painted. Alright, well, won't bore you with the rest of that. I'm going to go ahead and get that taken care of. I'll turn the camera back on when I move on to the next step. Okay, so we're back in the train room. As you can see, the paper and glue did exactly, well, mostly what I wanted it to do. It's been several days. Pulled my back a little bit, so I wasn't in here at all yesterday. But now I got to put down the base coat, color, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to paint everything. And it's going to be this lightish dirt brown color, and I want to cover everything so that when I go to do scenery and track and all of that stuff later on, none of this silver or white will show through as I'm doing things. Should give me a good base to work off of. It's kind of a neutral dirt brown, so if I miss some areas later on while I'm doing landscape and scenery, it won't look bad. So with that, I got this little brush. I've already got some of my paint out, and I think I'm actually going to have to climb up into the corner over there. Really don't want to sit on the phone too much. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll start doing some painting. And then I'll turn the camera off for a little bit. You don't need to see me paint this whole room, but I'll show you how this first corner turns out before I decide to turn the camera off. Pop up here real quick. I say real quick, it's not that easy. A little bit older, knees don't like doing things. So I'm just gonna liberally make sure all of this gets coated. Doesn't need to be too thick or too thin. Not like we're painting a wall or something. Get up as close to that edge as I can without actually touching the wall. Hopefully I don't touch the wall too much. I already know that I'm going to probably have to repaint this whole room before I leave anyway. Things happen. But I do have a tarp down underneath the entire layout, covering the carpet, just in case we do have some drips and spills, things of that nature. And the way my tables are built, it'll actually be kind of easy to pull out later on. So it's not a permanent thing. It's just here for, spills and things of that nature. Did buy a not cheap paint. Not going to name the brand because I'm not endorsing anybody or anything on this channel at the moment. But it does have primer built in, and goes on pretty smooth. Hopefully I'll only have to do one coat. As long as I put it on pretty thick, I think I should be good. Bought a whole gallon, so this will last me when I go to start building mountains and things. I'll probably coat that in the same color, just so that everything matches, everything's even. That doesn't look too bad. It'll help blend everything together. Hop back down off that foam because I'm not exactly a light person, and it's only making dents I'm going to go ahead and rotate this camera a little bit, back it up. Making dents in my foam there. Just need to climb as little as possible. Should have probably brought a step stool in with me. I might actually holler at the wife and have her bring it into me so I don't have to duck under again. So here I've finished all the painting. Turned out really well. I am going to have to do a second coat. I noticed a little bit of cracking after everything dried up. I'll take care of that today. The next video will start with me laying out the track plan and deciding on where or what to build first. I do know that I need to build a large mountain and a couple of tunnels. Probably need to tackle that first and foremost. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.